Hey everyone, welcome to Through Their Eyes. This is a highlight of my month, I have to say. This is when we talk to our teens, our adolescents, our college friends and students, and they control the show. And we are really excited because we talk about some really great things. So I just want to remind everyone to please feel free to join us in our chat. You can put your name, nickname, whatever you like under the window, and our chat window will pop up, and you're welcome to ask questions, comments, whatever you like there. You can also call into the studio at 919-518-9773 if you would like to ask a question or you have a comment. And remember something, we this is an open invitation. We'd love you to come in. We'd love you to ask great questions. And you're gonna love our show today. We have two very special guests. And you might have a question. Maybe you want to know something about how they did something. Please feel free to comment, ask questions, call in, and you can also come in on Skype, and that would be to computers, and that's plural, then the number 2K voice. And you can come in on voice there, not video, so don't worry about anything. Just come in and join us. The most important thing is that we are here to learn, grow, and create possibilities and hope for all of us, especially our youth, our young adults, our teens. They are amazing. So, with that, we're going to start the ball rolling by introducing Josh, who is our host. Josh, take it away.
All right. Hello, everybody. So, my name is Joshua, and I'm one of the hosts of the Through Their Eyes podcast. And I'm super excited for today's episode because we have two awesome guests who are going to talk all about, things related to their business, their life. But before we introduce them, I do want to introduce our other two hosts. So, Emily, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily, and I am a sophomore in college. And I'm really excited for today's episode. So let's see how everything goes.
And then
And
Rebecca.
oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm a psychology graduate student in Quebec, Canada. I'm in my first year starting, and I really look forward to our conversation today.
All right. Thank you guys so much. So I'm super excited today. We have a business based out of North Carolina, the Sweet and Savory Sisters, coming onto our show. So we have Jessica and Sydney Hamilton. If you guys want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your business, that'd be awesome.
Hi, my name is Sydney. I'm Jessica. I'm a senior in high school. And I'm a sophomore in high school. And we are Sweet and Savory Sisters. We started this business back in 2020. And we expanded where we needed to expand it. We've blown up from there.
All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. So I think getting into like the first question I just wanted to do to kick things off, what inspired you guys to start a business, especially during 2020, which was the COVID-19 pandemic?
I think during the pandemic, everybody kind of had like a creative burst. Everybody's like learning new things, and we started learning new things. At first, it was cooking, and then we discovered we like baking more than we like cooking, and so it just started out of boredom.
What led you guys to like culinary arts particularly, like above all else? Like some people like gravitate towards like drawing or things of that sort or writing, but what particularly about culinary arts like stood out to you too?
So I think early on, before even COVID happened, our mom was signing us up for cooking classes, and I think she saw we found an interest, but at long the time we had to stop. And so once COVID-19 came back, she continued signing us up for online cooking classes. And we would cook at home, and the teacher would be online, and everybody would show what they made, and she would go by every single step of what we need to do. Um, Through that, I think we both found that cooking is something that like anybody can do. It's different than drawing. It's different than going outside and playing a sport. It's something that you can get in that kitchen and make something that comes out of your mind, and it's so delicious to eat. And that I feel as if this is essential to have in life. I don't think a lot of people in this generation know how to cook. And I think it's something that they should probably learn before even moving on in young adulthood, because it's something that you're probably gonna have to live off of.
So
No, I agree.
before we go on with a lot of things, I'd like to know what your business is, and I think other people probably want to know Like, what are you cooking? What are you baking? Things like that. Just give us a little background first.
So we're an on-demand bakery. We're based in Raleigh, and we mostly specialize in like pound cakes. A lot of the stuff, pound cakes and pies, but a lot of the stuff that we make is stuff that it's desserts we grew up with. Whenever we went to grandma's house, it was always there.
All right, that's super cool. And going along with that, I'm just curious to know, like, because there's so many logistics, things you have to work around your business. What made you guys think about a business route? Because a lot of people would just take it as like a hobby and leave it at that?
So with us cooking during COVID-19, our mom was posting our meals on social media, just to let everybody know what was going on with Sydney and Jessica. And a family friend had asked for a pound cake that my mom had posted on Facebook. We baked the pound cake. We got everything that we needed, and we delivered that pound cake to her. She ended up paying us, which we didn't want that, but she insisted, and we made that. And then we posted on social media that we made that pound cake. And the next thing you know, somebody in New Jersey had actually messaged our mom and was like, "Are you willing to ship a pound cake to us?" So we were able to learn how to ship and pack up our cake, and we were able to ship that to New Jersey, and then that's kind of where everything expanded from there.
Well, that's honestly great. So since then, you guys have had to do so much, like, you had to keep learning business. You've had to keep expanding it. And then I'm gonna assume at the time I know that there was lockdown going on, but since then school's become like a big factor too. I know like that takes up a lot of time in your day. So do you guys like still run the operation completely on your own? Do you have like a little team now that also works on it?
So right now it's really just family based. Our parents help out, but it's just me and Jessica. Though people have, like my friends, they've asked if they could work for Sweet and Savory Sisters or intern. We always say maybe one day.
That's super cool. That's super cool. And then Emily and Rebecca, I don't know if you guys had any other thoughts like now that we've gotten to that point.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask how you guys would manage your business while doing school at the same time. I know for myself, I came from a student athlete background and I did competitive sports all throughout high school. I know time management is such an important skill with that. So I can imagine it's very important for you guys too. So I just wanted to see if you had any advice for other students that want to do something on the side besides school.
I definitely think it's something that it takes some work on. We've been in business for 3 years now, and it wasn't easy at first because we started on an online schooling. It was way easier then because when class ended, we were able to log out and we were able to go into the kitchen and bake our cakes. But once we got into in person, it was something that once we got home, we had to start baking, but you also had to focus on school as well. Doing your homework, making sure that's done first, making sure you're studying for any tests that need to be studied for, making sure that if you're struggling in this subject, to make sure you're good in your studies before you're going into that kitchen to baking whatever you need to bake.
How do
And
y'all's
oh, you go ahead, Emily.
Oh, I was gonna ask, how do y'all's peers like react to when you tell them that you have a business? Like, are they like, oh, that's so cool, or do they like inquire further? Like, how is it generally received amongst your age group, I guess?
So I started the business when I was in seventh grade. We were virtual. So I didn't really have many friends in 2020. I'm just gonna be honest. So a lot of them didn't really know about it until we went back in person. And that was when I was in eighth grade, ninth grade. So I was really quiet about it at first. So they didn't really know how to perceive it because they didn't really know about it. But eventually I started posting on social media about our business too. And then they're just like, you own a business. And then I was like, yes. And then they'd somehow compare it to their like slime businesses and like loom band bracelet businesses when they were in elementary school. And I'll be like, nothing like that. But they think it's pretty cool. They just really like the days when I bring them treats to school to just like sample.
Yeah. What about you, Jessica?
Like she said, I was in 8th grade once everything kind of got locked down, and I was at a new school at that time, so I never got to finish out that year. So I made, a couple of friends that, I stuck with. But I think when I first started the business, I felt as if I were to be posting it on social media, I was gonna get some judgment. I'm gonna be honest, because it made it feel like I knew people were gonna be like, "Oh, she has just this little side thing," but I knew that it was gonna become a big thing. I didn't let that, stop me or anything like that, but I felt judgment in a way posting it. I think once we got back into school, like Sydney said, that's when people were kind of like, "Oh, she's really doing a lot," because we had been in business for over a year at that point. I think people had they were looking at me being like, "Oh, she's actually continuing doing this. She's actually doing events. They have a website. They're continuing doing this. This isn't like a one-time thing."
Yeah, I want to get into that judgment thing because I
Mhm.
think that's really critical because that's one of those things that stops people.
Mhm.
And I want to tell you something. Many, many years ago, I mean, I was a young married woman at the time, so you can imagine. I started a furniture store here in North Carolina. And I remember my husband at the time, who's not my husband anymore, but he was then, and he's a very good man, and I love him. He had a lot of friends in the furniture business because he was a furniture rep. And one of his friends called up who had some things that I wanted to buy for my store. Now, my building was like 10,000 square feet, so it wasn't small. But he turned around and he said, "How's your hobby going?" And I'm like, I saw fire. I mean, I'm like, my ears are burning, my head is burning. I'm like, a hobby? And that's how he looked at it. He looked at this business that I knew, just like you did, was going to be big. And he said, "What is it? It's a hobby." I'm like, I didn't even know what to answer. I knew it was going to be big. But you learning this lesson so early is like extraordinary to me. I'm sitting here listening to you sharing that response, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had that when I was in my 20s, 30s. And I didn't have it just once, I will tell you.
Mhm.
I had it several times, and maybe it was because I was a woman in North Carolina opening up a business, you know, 30 some odd, 40 years ago is a long time. But, it was quite something. And, but anyway, the judgment I think is an important thing to talk about. Where is that? What do you think it's from?
I think it's from just both of us being in high school, at least for me. Like we said earlier, she's a sophomore, I'm a senior. I think with me starting high school and having this business, there are gonna be those mean girls. There's gonna be those cliques that are gonna be talking about you. Um, and it's up to you to either move forward or have them hold you back because you feel so embarrassed or you feel like somebody's talking about you. I'll be honest with you, I know they were talking about me. But it was up to me that I could be like, you know what? They can continue doing what they're doing. I'm the one owning business. I'm the one continuing working. I'm the one that I can say, you know what? I own a full on-demand bakery while you are not doing that. You're over there, doing your schoolwork, but I'm also in school and I'm also running an on-demand bakery.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to interject, but I feel really passionate about this point, so I wanted
Mhm.
to add to it. Like, I feel like in high school, it's hard for groups of teenagers to really understand that someone's able to do these kinds of things while, we're the same age, the same
Mhm.
people. And I've definitely felt like even in recent, like you kind of notice when you're really passionate about a goal, whether people intentionally mean to or not, there's always like some people out there. I mean, it's not as like obvious as a TV show might make it, where it's just like, oh, they're saying like mean things to you, they're trying to bring you down. You can really question yourself, am I making the right choice? Are they right? And I think that the point you guys make is super important that as like cliche as it is to say, you can really be a lot happier if you learn to just have confidence in your goal and focus on your goal, and you have to keep that focus without losing it. So I just wanted to like say I really respect you guys for being able to learn something like that.
Thank you.
And then I think I just like transitioning from this, I mean, I want to stay on these things, but
Mm-hmm.
transitioning from the topic of judgment, with school as another factor, how do you guys think you're gonna hit a point now where you're gonna need to start bringing on help, like the business is too much to handle on your own?
I definitely think so because since Jessica's going to be going to college soon, it's really just going to be me and my parents. So, like, extra help is definitely going to be needed for sure.
This
And
is
then
more
you oh yeah, continue, Emily, you're good.
I was gonna say this is like a completely like random question out of the blue, but I was just gonna ask like what is you guys' favorite thing to bake? Like what is the one item that you guys are like, I love making this, I can make a million of these, like compared to and also what is like your best seller?
Um, I'll start. My favorite thing to bake, I guess, I don't know, it's like so much, but I think it would have to be, I'll say the lemon pound cake, only because that's my favorite. But our best seller is the strawberry swirl. People really like that one. And my favorite is, well, we don't bake it, but banana pudding. I really like making that, and I love it. I enjoy that one. And then I think another best seller is the sweet potato pie.
And
So
do
do
you
you do
guys ship
marketing? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna ask, do you guys ship just in North Carolina, or can you ship anywhere in the United States?
Anywhere. Our first shipping order was in New Jersey, and that was the second order we ever had. So we learned quick.
We have a question on the chat that I'd like to ask you. So, do you ever plan on having a physical bakery in the future?
It's one of our goals. We're constantly looking. Right now, we're kind of like in the market for more of a food truck with all of the events we do because most of them are outdoors. But a bakery is always going to be the biggest goal, other than getting our products in stores.
Do you market? Do you do like promotions and marketing, or is it just word of mouth?
Um, it's also marketing as well. It's word of mouth and marketing. You know, we have our website and we have our social medias, and that does what it needs to do. But it's also up to us to speak about our business. Because if we don't say anything, nobody's gonna know.
That's a lot. That's a lot of
Yeah.
things, isn't it? If we don't speak up, people won't know.
Yeah.
All right, cool guys. So I think I'll just like continue adding on to that point. You're working on marketing now. I guess I'm gonna segue completely away from business, right? We've gone over like your social life, how it kind of affects you in school as well. So working on this business, I was hoping, just like for my own sake, we could go a little bit back to talking about when you originally made the business. Did you guys have any doubts about it? Any doubts like going into it? Was it worth pursuing the idea?
Um, I'll say I definitely did. We started and we really only had one thing on the menu, and that was the old-fashioned pound cake. And I was kind of worried that we wouldn't have anything else to sell other than that, and that people would just get sick of it and just forget about us completely. I know it kind of went dark, but
Mhm.
So you guys have just been constantly learning by like, I'm assuming you guys have learned recipes for the business just to
yes.
like keep pursuing it. So would you guys have done anything differently if you were like your current selves restarting from square one?
I think that's a really good question. I think if we were more educated on how to everything started quickly. So I think we started November 2020 and we were taking orders through Facebook, through messages. You know, if somebody was messaging our mom and we would put it into a Google spreadsheet. I think if we had known that was going to happen, we would have already created the website. We would have already created, any business cards or anything like that. I think we probably could have been more prepared if we knew it was going to happen like that.
What would you guys
It
say has been oh, continue, go ahead.
it really kind of happened so fast, so it I think it was kind of made that way. But if we had had a little bit more time, we probably would have been more prepared.
What would you guys say has been like the biggest challenge so far in maintaining your business or just anything that has generally impacted the business in a way that is adverse, I guess?
Um, I like the biggest challenge overall for me at least is like during holidays and stuff like that, especially during the Thanksgiving and Christmas time. That's when we have the most orders because people want desserts for holidays, of course. And it's kind of like I get home from school and I bake like from 3 to 10 or something. I'll have to bake 8 cakes in one day with 4 cake pans. And it gets really time consuming and stressful, especially because I have homework and extracurriculars. But that's the biggest challenge for me. I think the biggest challenge for me was the same thing. It could be kind of hard maintaining school in the business around that time because you're getting home, making sure your homework's done, and then you're going downstairs and baking. And I can say like sometimes it can get really exhausting um, working so much throughout that day. Um, I like to say like sometimes you like your mind isn't there towards the end of the night where you probably need to go to bed. I have had times, and I know she has, where we forget recipes. We forget what we're doing in that moment, where we might not add what we need to add, or we might have added too much of what we need to add because we have been working all night.
No, yeah, that's understandable. And you guys mentioned that you do events, right? What does that usually look like? Like, do you guys, yeah, just like run me through how that generally looks like a day where you would go to an event.
So every second and fourth Sunday, we're at the Black Farmers Market at the Southeast YMCA. So from there, we're packing up the car using, putting in tables, our products, wherever we're gonna put on the tables, our crates and everything like that. Once we get there, we're setting up, putting up the tent, putting out our tables, putting on the tablecloth. Um, we get our case so we can put everything in. Um, it's kind of just setting it up, and then um, I get into a mental thing where I'm like, okay, I have to speak to people. I have to make sure I'm selling product, make sure I'm speaking up. I know that we have a little trouble with how to engage into a conversation. But having like you have to understand like you're gonna be here. Let's make sure we sell all of our products and we can get through this.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a completely different experience selling in person versus online. And what would you guys say is the best customer experience you guys have ever had, like a face-to-face interaction?
Um, Well, I think most of the time, like when we're at the Black Farmers Market, since we're there so often, there are people who go every week to both the Raleigh Market and the Durham Market. But some of them come to the Raleigh Market, just to visit us. Like they'll remember us by name. They'll be like, I only came because the Sweet and Savoree sisters were here. Or they'll be like, like my mom told me about this. She told me to come pick up some lemon pound cake from the Sweet and Savoree sisters. So I think interactions like that, like it can be 104 degrees, no water, portable fan's dead. But I think interactions like that kind of it makes it more enjoyable.
Yeah. No, that's
Can I
really
ask? We all want to ask. I'm going to be quiet then. Go ahead.
No,
No, no,
you can
no.
go, man.
Well, I was just curious. I have a lot of questions for you, but I also just want to hear you. I have a lot of questions, but I also enjoy just hearing you talk.
Thank
Um,
you.
you're welcome, and I'm so impressed. I'm curious how your parents parent you with you being so mature. I would not know what to do with you. I would just like sit down and let you parent me, I think.
We definitely have our moments. Yeah. I mean we're in the middle of adolescence, so it does get really hard for them. And I can tell there are days that they're just as stressed out as we are, even if they're not the ones baking. And I get their point of view. I can be a handful sometimes, and so can she.
So can I.
But I think we gain like
We know that.
we grew up around a lot of adults. On my dad's side, I don't have any cousins who are my age, and neither does she. So we're kind of just like the two youngest.
We stick together.
Yeah. So we kind of like we've adapted to the behaviors we've seen around us over the years.
Do you guys think that doing this business has been like a good way for you guys to get closer in the past few years?
Um, I don't. Okay, we work with each other. We're obviously gonna have our fights. I know that we cannot bake in the same kitchen. If she has to bake whatever she needs to bake, she has her day, and I have my day. We cannot bake in the same kitchen. But I think at the same time we hold each other accountable for a lot of things. And if one day she's giving 60% and I'm only able to give 40, there goes 100. If she's not able to give, that 50, then I can go ahead and take, she can do her 30 and I can take up to 70. It's holding each other accountable and understanding how each other might feel. I know she might be
getting stressed because she has so many cake orders. So let me stir up the flour. Let me help you. It's looking at each other and making sure that that other person is good.
No, I mean, I think that's like, I definitely respect you guys for that, because I think that when you're doing something like this and you're going to start to learn, you're going to learn a lot about each other. You're going to learn like who prefers what, who wants to do what things during the business, right? Some
Mhm.
people try way too hard to just like, push things one way or another. They don't accept that they just need to compromise. And the fact that you guys can say, I'm going to go do mine, you're going to go do yours, and we're just going to hold each other accountable for getting that work done would honestly be the best way to go about it, which I'm assuming means, you're still building those teamwork skills. It made me think, what are like other skills you guys think you've learned from this experience that maybe other teenagers could like, that would be useful for other teenagers?
The biggest, I think, is that patience is key. They like making up so many orders and like doing all this test runs and stuff like that. I've definitely learned that it's gonna take more than one try to perfect a new recipe, but like sometimes it's always the ones that go wrong that help you go right.
And I also think it's probably the order limits. Understanding that we can only do so much. We're human. We can't operate 100 cakes a day. So having those order limits gives the customer understandable, like they know, like, okay, let me order ahead so that I am able to actually have this, this ready by this holiday. We've had people order their Christmas stuff in September, July, so that they know like that order's already set for them to pick up in December.
And do you guys think you have an issue with like too little orders or like too many orders? I mean, it sounds like it's probably towards too many, but how do you guys like have a system to make sure you can get through those?
So during the busy holiday time, our mom usually makes like a daily schedule on what we're supposed to do. So it'll be Tuesday, Sydney make 4 cakes, and then Jessica on Wednesday make 7 pies, 7 or 8 pies. So we have a very good time management system thanks to our parents.
I mean, that's an awesome skill to learn.
How important are your parents to this process?
Oh, very important.
They were if we did not have their support in the beginning of this thing would not be where it is right now. They were the one who put in the seed money, who got everything started, and who kept pushing us, because there was a lot of nights where we kind of like, we don't like this is getting hard, it's getting a lot. But they were the type of person to be like, you know what? But look at this. You have so many orders right here. We can bake all these and you can have fun. And I think after the 2 months in 2020, our mom kind of saw it as, I think they want to continue doing this, and we did. And so she helped us with licensing and getting our kitchen inspected, and our dad helped us with the website, our logo, and we had also family members as well make our T-shirts and spread the word as well.
Have you guys, or yeah, Marilyn, if you wanted
No,
to.
no, no.
Okay, cool.
No, I can say so much here that I'm just biting my tongue because this is so great. But no, I want you to talk.
Yeah, I was gonna ask because I think with the way you guys have explained it, right, have you ever got into like a burnout point where you felt like maybe this is just too much, maybe this is where we want to kind of stop doing it?
Um, I think we both have at some point. There was one night, it was like a Tuesday night, and I had to stay up and bake a whole bunch of cakes, and I didn't get to bed till 12 or 1, and I had to wake up at 4:51 the next morning to get to school on time. So I couldn't do it. I couldn't focus at all. I had to call my mom and my dad and ask them to pick me up early so I could get some rest. Yeah.
They understand that. Like, they understand there might be a burnout, and it's up to us to just communicate with them to be like, hey, like, I can't do today. Like, can you come get me, or can I just stay home for just a couple hours and go to school late so that I can catch up on rest, or can just sit down for a minute.
So I have a big question. So with the relationship that the two of you have together,
Mhm.
the relationship that you have with your parents and your parents have with you, um, how do you keep it all like straight? In other words, what would you how do you what would you tell other kids? How would they communicate their desire to be in business with their family or somebody? What would you tell somebody to do who is kind of like you? Even kind of like me. I mean, how do you tell? I mean, really? Because what you've learned at your age, I mean, I can't wait till we talk about what you want to do in the future. Like,
Mm.
who wants to be president? Excuse me? Or who wants to run something? Um, so, like, how would you tell somebody how to, talk about this? Like, talk about their desire to do something like this.
I think it all starts with what you love doing. So, like we said, we loved baking, we loved cooking. Um, I say go for it, because what harm is it gonna do? If you fail, okay, get back up and try again. Um, go into the business venture with an open mind. You're gonna do great. Nothing's gonna happen. But also you need support from whether that's family, your spouse, your parents. You're gonna need support. You can't do it all by yourself. Although, as much as you probably want to, you can't do it all by yourself. And ask questions. You're gonna have questions about stuff, so don't be scared to go to somebody and be like, how do I do this?" Because somebody probably has the answer. Somebody or somewhere probably has the answer for you. Um, it's just, having those people to support you and somebody that you could probably look up to as well. We look up to our parents. We look up to them for support, and for any questions. We come downstairs every single day and be like, what does this mean? Like, how do we do this? And if they don't know the answer, they know somebody that will probably know the answer as well.
I also say that getting a mentor is pretty important. Over this past year, Chef Rome, he recently became our mentor, and he's just great because he gets us kind of out there. So with the news interview, I don't think we would have been able to do that without him.
And can you guys like elaborate on that? Like, is he like, how did you end up meeting them?
Uh, so Chef Rome, he was on the Food Network. He's pretty well known, and it's actually a really funny story because so we gave a cake to one of the people who works in the cafeteria at school, and he gave it to his girlfriend. And his girlfriend luckily had a connection to Chef Rome, so she reached out, and he was just like, "I've got to meet these girls," because I guess he heard so much about us, and he's mentored a lot of children our age who've gone through like culinary arts and baking. So I mean, since then, he's just been a really big support, and he's been a really big help for us.
Wow, that I mean, that's just like incredible for both of you because it also goes to show like that's such a small interaction. You wouldn't even think it would have such a big impact. I just think that's really cool. And then if Emily and Rebecca have anything they wanted to add to that.
This is kind of a not as related to this discussion, but I wanted to touch on what we had previously discussed about judgment. And if you're comfortable sharing, I wanted to ask if you've had any negative experiences with either customers or older adults in general. Like, have you received any bad experiences with those people from being a young entrepreneur? Because I know myself as someone that's 23, I know I've experienced issues where people think I'm inexperienced or not professional just because of my age and they don't really know me as a person. So I wanted to see if you had any advice for any other young adults facing that kind of criticism and how you handle those situations.
Yeah. So a lot of the older people who come up to our events, they come up to us and they'll taste the product and they seriously will not believe that we made it. They'll think that our parents made it or like our grandma snuck in our kitchen and made it. And like we have to try and convince them that it was us. But like as far as negative experiences, like I don't think we've had any.
Yeah, our parents take care of that. Any customer interactions goes through them. If something has happened, we have not heard about it because that's our parents. They shield us from that whole thing. Um, because we bake the cakes, and whoever wants to believe that can believe that. That should be everybody. Because it's us in the kitchen. Even because we get a lot of questions of, oh, like y'all bake this, or does mom and dad bake this? And mom and dad are in the background, no, shaking their heads no. Because they're not in the kitchen. They're managing the website and everything like that. But it's us producing the products.
I'm really happy that you have your parents there to support you through anything that you might deal with. So that's really great to hear.
On a much lighter note, during family events and holidays, does your family expect you guys to make all of the desserts, or do they give you guys a break? Like, what happens there?
No, it's I think we get text messages of what everybody's gonna do for the any type of event, and it's already sweet savory. You're making the desserts. That's already known and already put on the table. And so we don't ever get tired of it, but we just think it's so funny that it used to be our dad who used to make the desserts, and then over the years, it just trickled on to just our laps. Like we're the ones making the desserts. There's no question about it. We're not complaining, but it's just so funny that we're the ones doing that.
No, yeah, that's what I assumed, but I was like, I need to ask just to double check.
Yes.
Do you guys have?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll quickly say this one. It was a
Yeah, go
light. It was
ahead.
just
It's
a
all right.
light one. So I was just gonna ask if you guys had Do you guys have like big supporters from other people in your family, like extended family and all that, buy a lot of your products?
Yes. One of our first customers, Mr. Jonathan, has supported us from the very beginning. Um, he has bought from us multiple times for family reunions, for birthday parties. And we were so thankful for him. He has bought over dozens of pies and cakes and novelty items that we make. And each time he continues to say, "Oh my God, this is amazing." He has no doubt that it's going to be amazing, and we are glad our product does that for him. Um, that every single time there's no mistakes or nothing that's going to happen because he can trust us to know that our product is going to be so good.
How are you different than you were when you started? I mean, I'm listening to the two of you, and I'm like, if I close my eyes, I won't know who I'm talking to because you sound so together. Now, I don't just mean physically together, I mean individually. You sound like you're like, and I would thank your parents for that because I can tell they're really good parents. But like for you individually, what has been like your most greatest personal development growth moment, or like you see yourself, and I'm listening to you and I'm like, I wanted to say to you, Jessica, in particular, like when you were in, applying for colleges, like what, I can't even imagine. Did you go on any interviews?
No, not yet.
Okay. But okay. So what has been your biggest growth that you've noticed in yourself? Like I know certain things that I've been able to see myself and know that I've changed and I've grown because of the work that we do and being around all of you like this. What would you say? Each of you.
My biggest growth is probably my ability to multitask. When we first started out, I could really only bake one cake at a time. Like I mix one batter, put one cake in the oven because I could not do two things at once. But I mean, we upgraded. We got two mixers now, so I'm able to make more batters now, and I think patience too. I'm still really not that patient, but I've definitely gained more of a sense of patience than I had back when we first started, back when I was 12.
I think for me, it's public speaking. Because we're doing events, not only online, we're doing them in person. We're meeting new people. And like Cindy said, these people are coming back only just for us. And so I've had to learn how to answer questions. I've had to learn how to do a elevator pitch in 1 minute. I've met so many amazing people, and I was pushed for those opportunities by my parents. So I know that at school, Akila Davis from ABC 11 had came to speak for us. And I'll be honest with you, if I was there by myself, I probably would not gone up to her. But my mom went up the stairs and talked to her, and she was like, "Well, this is my daughter. She's the co-owner of Sweet and Savvy Sisters." And I was able to give that elevator pitch and give the information that she needed. And you never know where that opportunity might take both of us. You know, Sydney wasn't even there, but it's up to me. Like I said, that we share that responsibility. It's up to me to venture out for both of us. So even though she was not there, that opportunity affects both of us because I'm not only myself, I'm with my sister as well.
A long time ago, I read a book. I think it was called The Lemonade Stand, something like that. And it was a story about these kids who had a lemonade stand. And the most important thing was that people bought lemonade from them. And I'm not saying that's your situation, but I'm saying that buying lemonade from a lemonade stand that a 3-year-old or 5-year-old on a corner is selling is one of the most empowering things any kid can accomplish at an early age. And case in point, moi, the two of you.
Yeah, and I mean, I wanted to this goes so much into how much you've grown, everything. And I think now that we were like 2/3 of the way through, Marilyn actually, she gave me the idea to talk about this earlier, but what do you guys see for yourself in the future? And then I guess as an extension of that question, how do you think what you wanted to do like after like school, after college has now changed because of starting this business?
Um, I feel like everybody asks me what I want to do when I like get out of school and stuff. And I've had so many phases over like the past 7 years. So I've never really had a direct answer. I wanted to be a homicide investigator at some point. I don't, but I can't even stand to see roadkill on the road. So I don't think I could do that. But I think it's always been something with the arts. I've always really been interested in the arts, even if culinary arts is up there. I mean, I'm a really creative person, and I like opportunities where I get to share my creativity, and I think baking is a really good way to do that.
For me, it was, I think our goals changed throughout the time being. So, our biggest goal, like we said earlier, was to get a food truck and so also get our product in store. Um, for future wise, I know I wanted to go to school for education, and I still do. I want to major in early childhood development, but I also want to minor in entrepreneurship so that I can still learn that business aspect, so that I can put whatever my mom has been teaching me into the real world, and so I could probably manage new businesses as if she's managing for us.
It's really like evident how multifaceted you guys are. Are there any other business pursuits that you guys want to take on in the future, or any other endeavors that you guys are possibly entertaining right now? Just like, yeah.
I think, like I said, we want to get our products in stores. You see so many baked goods in that section. And we want to be we want to be there, Um, I think that's a big, big, huge goal for us. And we also want a storefront as well. That seeing donut shops and seeing local bakeries getting into those type of things is really cool. I think at our young age, it would be magnificent to see somebody that young owning a storefront bakery. I haven't seen it. So I think it would be something a good goal for both of us.
I don't think we've met anybody like you, period,
Yeah.
with a storefront or without a storefront. I think the two of you are just relentless in your pursuits of what you're going to accomplish. And everybody that's listening and watching are not just hearing you, but watching your body language and how you work together. That's a lesson in itself, because it is not easy to be in a partnership, even with a sibling. So
Thank you.
you've mastered that, and I'm not assuming that you never argue, because that would be like ridiculous. But the fact is that you're doing so well together. So I just want to remind everybody that's listening, if you want to ask a question, please join us in the chat. Just put your name under the video that you're now watching, and put your question, your comment, whatever you like in there. Would you two consider coaching other kids like you who want to start a business?
So we've actually been approached with this idea by different companies and well, not brands, but different companies and associations to like teach cooking classes. I know people have walked up to us and they'll say, my daughter wants to start a business, but she thinks she's too young or she doesn't think she's good enough for it. Could you give her some advice? And I mean, we're always open to help. It's always a process. It wasn't easy for us, and it's not really going to be that easy for anybody. But I think having somebody there to help you and give you advice and support you, it's always really important. So we've always been open to coaching people and helping.
Well, I'll say I'm like really glad you guys came on just because of the fact that this in itself to me is like a way of you guys, showing, like you said, that kid that was too scared to start a business when they're too young. You guys are like, you're keeping it real, you're giving the entire full perspective of it's a lot of hard work, right? Like I know Sydney brought up the having to stay up super late and like having to stick to a super strict schedule. Those things are incredibly challenging, but the fact that you guys are able to like time management and keep pursuing it is definitely one of the most important aspects of like having a business in general.
Thank you.
Why don't you give your website now? So, because I'm sure people are like, what is their website already? And what's their catalog look like? And so why don't you do that for everyone in this moment anyway?
All right. Well, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Sweet and Savory Sisters. And then our website is sweetandsavory.sisters.com. Savory is spelled with 2 E's instead of that Y. So it's going to be SAVOREE. So sweetandsavory.sisters.com.
I have a question I've been wanting to ask you since the beginning that I'm not, and I don't know how to ask. And it's a simple question, but I don't want to put you on the spot. So just for curiosity, I don't want to ask you how much you're making. I don't even want to ask you how, your gross sales, even though that's probably something, but give us for instance, like give us a range of how the business has grown over the years or how many cakes you're making in any one given month, just to have a perspective.
So every month, I'm not exactly sure how many orders we get. I just don't count. I just bake. But I think on average a month, maybe like, I don't know, 15, 20 a month, and maybe more. I'm not really sure. But I don't know, it varies depending on the month. But like I said, November and December are when we get the most, maybe 50 a month.
50, 50?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is busy.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot.
it is.
I mean, that's like, 15, 30, 15 to 20 a week.
Yeah.
And so nobody out here needs to complain about anything because baking a cake doesn't take 5 minutes.
No.
So if you're doing like 50 a week and every cake takes an hour to bake or a half hour, whatever it is, I mean, you're talking, you got a business going, girls.
Yes.
Wow.
It's the real deal.
It is the real deal.
Do you
Hi,
guys
this is
explain?
Leah.
Oh no,
I
Leah,
have
go.
one question I've been dying to ask. I guess it's for each of you, but you can answer it together however you feel most comfortable. But what are your favorite products that you make? And my name's Leah, not Rebecca. I'm not sure why it popped up like that, but what are your favorite products to make? Like, what do you offer on your menu that are like fan favorites and your absolute favorite items?
So the most popular items baked by both of us, the one that I think that's most popular is the strawberry swirl pound cake. Every time we're at the farmer's market, it's the first one to sell out. And the one that's most popular for Jessica is the sweet potato pie. A lot of people say it reminds them of their grandma's or their mom's sweet potato pie. So those are the two most popular. But my favorite to make personally is the lemon pound cake, mainly because it's kind of what I've grown up on, and it's I don't know. Every time I went to my grandma's house, it was the first thing I'd go towards. She always had a lemon pound cake on hand.
Is your grandma still alive?
She
Yes.
is, yes.
What does she think?
She is very proud. And I think she's more relaxed because now we could take on the recipes. She doesn't have to bake anymore if it's something that she wants. She can give us the recipe and we can make it. And I think we're very thankful for that. Those are the type of recipes that people might not get ever, but she gave it to us and was like, you know what, y'all can keep this. Y'all can handle this now. Because I think she's so proud of us to know that we started this, from the ground up.
Rebecca, I think you have a question, right?
Not really a question, but more of a comment. I just want to say how inspiring you two are as a team, as sisters, as business owners. I'm very proud to be able to speak with you guys and hear your experience. And I just want to thank you again for coming on this show to talk about your experiences.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to keep Sweet and Savory Sisters going, like even after you both graduate high school, if it could be done?
For sure. I think there are definitely more opportunities we like to venture into, like getting our stuff in stores. In fact, we've actually managed to get some of our products in a local cafe called the Mocha Room in Apex. And we make the cake pops for them there, and people really like those. So the more they sell, the more we make, and the more we expand, the more people know about us.
Do you get up in the middle of the night as other like chefs do and create something, or like start to think of, oh my God, I could put this ingredient with this ingredient and do this? Do you do that?
I have. I actually had something like that happen to me this weekend because of something I saw in a dream. And so my dad came to wake me up because it was like 11 o'clock. I was sleeping in. And I told him about it. It was the first thing I said that came out of my mouth. And usually I don't talk in the mornings because I don't like mornings like at all. But plus like I'm always something in my head is always trying to come up with a new recipe or a new bestseller.
I think for me, I think of stuff, but I go right back to sleep. I could deal with that in the morning, but I think she's a little bit more creative. She's the type of person to be like, "Ooh, maybe if we add this, it would be good." She's the person to come up with new ideas and new creations.
I doing all of this, how does that support you in the environment that we're all dealing with? There's a lot of stress out here. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of yuck. And a lot of kids feel the yuck. What do you think is, is making a difference for you in your life? Is it having a business? Is it having a purpose? What is it that's keeping you like doing so great?
Just constant motivation and support from everybody around us. I mean, I haven't met somebody who has said, yuck, you have a business or anything like that. Like everybody's in support, even if they don't fully get the concept that the business is ours and nobody else's. They're still like their reactions are still kind of like what keep me going. Yeah.
That's a great answer. Josh, what you got? Emily?
I mean, I think one thing I wanted to add on to that, because I know it's like recurred as a joke about like your friends asking you. This is just me bringing up a side story, but I remember when I first started, I used to do a lot of YouTube work on the side, and it was kind of similar for me. I mean, it's obviously it's a completely different game. It was not nearly as challenging for me as I think that this might be for you. But I remember when I was first starting, it was like, I don't want to tell any of my friends. It's just some small little thing. Once it started getting a lot bigger and I started making some money into it, that's when all your friends kind of come up to you like, oh, I want to come edit your videos. I want to come work on your business. And it's not like you don't want them to, but it's really hard managing something like that. It's not easy for you to just be able to accommodate people. And I guess also swinging back to that point, I mean, do you guys still nowadays have a lot of people that really, really want to get involved with you guys?
I say yes. I know that, for our school, our senior year, you have to have an internship to graduate. And there were a good of like 5 or 6 people that came up to me and were like, hey, like, are you taking any internships for your business? And it was very warming to my heart to know that they even wanted to come intern for me and my sister. And they were making up stuff like, oh, what if I just wash dishes? What if I, deliver things? And our mom was even, okay with that. Like we wanted to start that paperwork to even get that in place, um, because that would expand us a little bit more, and help us a lot more. We have this team, but there's nothing wrong with adding to the team.
Were you guys able to count that like your business as your internship for that?
No. um, our our coordinator, the first thing my mom asked was, "Oh, hey, like, can we use the business?" And she was like, "No." So I had to do my internship somewhere else. But it was I felt as if it would have been really cool if it was just my internship just working for myself. But I think it would be a little bit too easy with me getting the hours for my internship if I was working for myself.
And yeah, I have a question for you. But I also Emily works with me, us, and she's in college. And I'm gonna tell you what, she is fabulous. I mean, she shows up on time. She's responsible. She says she's going to do something. She does it. That's great at any age,
Mhm.
Thank
right?
you. I appreciate that.
Is there anything you want to add about that?
In terms of like managing multiple things at once, I'd definitely say like, I mean, I can't really say that what I do is like in any way similar to what you guys do, because I'm sure that you guys like have a lot more weight on you than I do on any given day. But I think definitely time management is a valuable skill, and learning it early, as Marilyn had said, is definitely really important. And some people they struggle in their early 20s or mid 20s, as college students because they were never given that independence, I feel. And because of that, they're kind of like almost thrown into the deep end and learning so many valuable skills. Like at one time, like I remember, Jessica, you had mentioned that some people they don't know how to cook. And I think that is a valuable skill. Like I agree with you that it's a really valuable skill that people do need to learn, especially throughout childhood. That's something that everyone should know how to cook. Because as somebody who was in college, I know a lot of people who didn't even do laundry on their own for the first time
Yeah.
until they got to college, and it's insane, much less know how to scramble an egg. So yeah, I think, yeah, definitely you guys are doing fabulous, and I can't wait to see what you guys do in the future.
Thank you.
To have one question really quick, and you give me one quick answer. How do you keep yourself from being in your ego? You know what I mean by
Oh,
that? How do you keep yourself with good self-esteem and not like all about yourself?
This may sound really weird, but I just think of all those French pastry chefs who get up at 3 a.m. to start baking their donut, or not donuts, sorry, their croissants and stuff. So that's kind of my motivation. So like I have a load, but their load is much heavier than mine.
I also think like just understanding that like although we own our own business, like you do not need to like post about it. Like be proud of it, be confident about it, but just don't go around me like, well, I own my own business. I don't have to work for anybody else. Like I work for myself. Like be proud of it. You know what? I do own my own business. But at the same time, I wouldn't be here without my parent. Like you have to give credit where credit's due. You can't just take all that credit to yourself.
If I was your parents, I'd be crying. I'm crying now, and I'm not your parent. Gosh, is
You
there
guys
any?
have such a fantastic attitude and outlook. And I know it can be difficult to see it because you're living in your own skin. But as somebody who is, I'm definitely more than double your age, just the perspective you have is incredible. I mean, what a gift your family, just have worked together to give you and develop with you. You're going to carry this stuff for the rest of your lives. And I just like, I feel love in everything you say and do, and just such like determination and passion. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you guys
Thank
so much for
you.
sharing with us.
And let me just say something for everybody who's listening, because I think this is really important. If you're listening and you're, in high school, you're in college, you're in middle school, and you have an inspiration to do something, and maybe you don't have the structure that Jessica and Sydney have, there are other people out there who will support you. You may have to find them, but if you want it badly enough, they're there waiting for you. They just don't know you yet. And if we here can be of any help to any one of you out there, and you want to activate a business, you want to get started, we will help you. all you got to do is reach out to me and I will help you. So, and I'm at MarilynShannon.com, but I will help you. Josh, Emily, any Rebecca, closing remarks?
Well, I mean, I just want to say, like, to end it off, thank you guys so much for coming on. We talked about time management. I know that this has taken up, that chunk of your day, but I appreciate you guys being here. And for everybody listening, they if you're from the United States, they ship everywhere. So please make sure to check out Sweet and Savory Sisters. Savory is spelled with an EE at the end and not a Y. And thank you guys so much for coming on. That's all I had to say.
Rebecca,
Okay,
you got
yes,
it?
thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say it.
Thank you so much for inviting us, and congratulations on this podcast. I think it's really cool what you're doing. This
Thank
is
you.
huge. Yes.
Well, you know what? If you can give me an ad, if you give us a graphic about your business, we'll use it. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
And then just keep, anytime you want to come back, if you got friends, you just want to join us whenever, please feel free. Okay? Rebecca, you got anything to say?
I just wanted to wish both of you the best of luck in the future with your studies, with your business. And I can't wait to see a food truck or a in-person store someday.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
What about you, Emily? Got anything?
I just want to say that we are so proud of you ladies, and to anybody out there who's watching and wants to start a business or has any aspirations, take this as a note to, be able to put those things into action. Don't ever be afraid to pursue your dreams.
Amen to that. Leah, any final word?
No, thank you guys so much. Truly, I don't think I have anything extra to add. You guys are so impressive. And I really appreciate you guys. I'm definitely going to check out your website. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you have anything gluten-free, I'd check it out too.
We're constantly working on something.
All right, tell me when you get it, but send me an ad or a graphic,
Okay.
Josh, whatever, and we'll use it. We'll post it. I'm a little bit of an influencer on Instagram, so we'll make up something. Okay.
Okay.
All right. With that, everybody, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you. Do we have something? Do you know what we got coming up for October, Josh?
Not yet. I'm still in the work.
Okay. So we will have something delicious for you.
And guys, don't hang up when it's over.
Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.